Good afternoon, Year 8s. I just want to go through some feedback with you. So if you've got a red pen, or a green pen, or a purple pen, and your notes you made from the lesson, if you want to go through and make sure that they're all correct, that would be an excellent use of your time. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the formation of a waterfall. So this is really important, not just for this topic, but for everything moving forward, okay? When you get to GCSE level, waterfalls and the formation of waterfalls are something that you need to know about. So let's make sure we understand that. If you didn't do it the first time round, okay, the diagram's up there, it's nice and big. Can you write it down, okay, the information, and can you draw the 4 diagrams to go with it to make sure you understand how that waterfall forms? If you've already done that and you know it, don't worry, okay, but if you haven't, can you do that for me now, please? So the second sort of thing we need to think about today is we need to improve our written work, or you need to self-assess your written work. So the question I asked you was explain why people would want to visit Niagara Falls. People want to visit Niagara Falls because it's one of the most breathtaking waterfalls in the world. The falls combine to make Niagara Falls the second largest in the world, second to Victoria Falls in Africa. The power and beauty of the waterfall makes it a very popular tourist destination. Now, why I like this answer and what I'm pushing you to think about with this answer is including that evidence. So we don't just say because it's big, we talk about, well, how big is it? 3 falls combined make it the second largest in the world. And we're not happy just with that. We add even more detail to show our knowledge. That's what's really important. Proving and demonstrating you know things. Second to Victoria Falls. Okay? Now what you could have done, the power and beauty of the waterfalls, well actually, tell me about the power. Okay? So maybe if you want to mark my work, what you could do in this section here is you could talk about the power. So to do that, you're going to go back onto the first video. Maybe you could write that in. Okay? Now this task here was all about the climate graphs. Climate graphs are really important because they're a way of showing 2 bits of information on one graph. Okay, so it's like going to the supermarket where you get a 2-for-1 offer. Okay, really important that we understand these moving forward. Really important, okay, that we know how to do them because they're quite tricky, but they'll come up time and time again. Whenever we look at a location, it's always important to consider the climate graph. It tells us, or they tell us 2 things. They tell us the precipitation, which is blue, okay, and that's the posh word for rainfall. Okay, now obviously sometimes it snows, that is classed as precipitation too, okay, which is why we use that word. And then we have the red, okay, which is temperature. Now if we look at my graph here, what I've got along the bottom, I'm going to talk you through how I did mine. At the bottom, I've got the months, okay, and you can see January, February, March, April, May, June, okay. I then drew the 2 side axes. Firstly, I did precipitation, did that in blue. I've highlighted it in blue there. 5, 5.56, 6.57, 7.58. Now, where eventually I'm going to get that reading from is this bit. If you look at the board where I'm highlighting now, so precipitation is there and there. What I then did was I added in red my temperature numbers. So if we look here, my temperature numbers, okay, and my precipitation numbers, if we remember, I've done them, and they would still be here. Okay, so now I've got one graph, okay, which along the bottom is the same information. Going up, I've got 2 ways to plot information. What I then did was I did the temperature. Okay, so I'm in the red here, and I plotted it along, okay, using the average number I'm given. So it's the average monthly temperature for January, February, okay. So I've now got one set of information. Now, if you look, this here, okay, is where I'm going from. Okay, that axis there. What I then did was I joined my dots up here, and then I got my blue pen, and I drew a bar graph using this information here. So my bar goes to this information here, which if you remember is the same as this information here. So what I've now got is I've got a bar graph which tells me the average precipitation. I've then got a line graph as well, which tells me the average temperature. So what that lets me think about is, well, what's happening? If the temperature is a lot higher than the amount of precipitation, the amount of water that there is will go down. Okay? If obviously the average temperature is below 0 and we've got lots of precipitation, well, we can predict there's going to be snow in that time, or at that time. Okay, so it lets us know about sort of that area in a really important way. So that's a really important geography skill, not just for this topic, but for moving forward, which is why I want you to spend some time making sure you've done that. Now, I did it on line paper because I'm not at school, I don't have squared paper. And I did it on purpose on line paper to show you how it works. Okay, so there's mine. Okay, if you notice, I've got a title because we always need a title for a graph. But let's have a go at that. Let's make sure we've got that done. And now the final task here, and this was what you typed up as well. Okay, so I've had a look at some of these and they're looking good. Some of them are a bit thin. Okay, now what I really want us to be thinking about here is explaining and developing our answers. This means that. This is important because this means that. Niagara Falls benefits the local economy by attracting many tourists to the town. This is shown in diagram C, which is a photograph of many people enjoying the spectacular sights. So we've used evidence. We've not just said, oh, it's busy. We've used the evidence. We've said, look, this photo shows it's busy. This can be supported by diagram A, which says that $75,267,000 was spent by tourists visiting Niagara Falls. So what we then do is we further corroborate that. We add more evidence. We've done this in history. You've probably done it in science. Okay, it's the same. If you're going to make an argument and a claim, prove it with some evidence. And we've done that there, haven't we? The money spent by tourists goes to various places. It's estimated that 22.8% of the local workforce is employed in the tourist sector. Okay, so I got that data from the diagram A. This can be supported by diagram B, which is a map of the hotels in the area. There are 8 at least with falls views. These hotels create a variety of jobs, which means local community have ample opportunity. The word ample means lots to find employment and earn a living. What you could do if you wanted, you could maybe list a couple of jobs here. Okay, what type of jobs exist? You've got skilled jobs, the management jobs, right down to sort of the low skilled jobs, okay, the gardens, the groundskeepers, okay, and the labourers. You've got all these different jobs. The residents have stable jobs, which means they're able to manage their money. This money can be used to improve their standard of living, showing how crucial tourism is to the local economy. So we link it to standard of living. We link it to how it benefits people's lives. You could also link it into taxes. How much taxes are brought into the area. And then taxes are spent on improving schools, which means this, which means that. Okay, so that's an idea of what I'm looking for. So if you've not done that answer, feel free to write this one down in your book. In fact, I'd probably encourage you to, because it's a really good use of your time to start thinking and get into these really good habits. Well done for completing the work this week. I'll be in touch soon and see you all soon. Excellent. Bye.